Think you know Ted Bundy's crimes? Wait until you hear about these women, killers whose brutal acts were just as horrific and in some cases even more twisted. When we think of notorious serial killers, Ted Bundy often tops the list. His crimes were shocking, his charm unsettling, and his methods chilling. But while Bundy may be infamous, he's not alone. In history, there are women whose crimes were equally, if not more, horrific. Today, we'll explore some of these figures. The women who shocked the world with their heinous acts, each with her own dark motivations, twisted psychology, and chilling legacy. Let's dive into the disturbing world of female criminals who rival Ted Bundy. First on our list is Aileen Wuornos, a woman whose story is as tragic as it is terrifying. Between 1989 and 1990, Wuornos murdered 7 men across Florida. She claimed they were in self-defense, but the brutality of her actions tells a different story. Wuornos's background of abuse, poverty, and hardship shaped her life, but her killing spree made her notorious. Some saw her as a victim who finally lashed out. Others saw her as a cold-blooded killer. Aileen's story raises complex questions about nature versus nurture, but there's no denying the fear her name instilled. Next, let's go back to the 16th century and meet Elizabeth Bathory, a Hungarian countess often called the Blood Countess. Known for her obsession with beauty and immortality, Bathory is said to have tortured and killed as many as 650 young girls. According to legend, she believed bathing in their blood would preserve her youth. Although her story borders on folklore, evidence of her cruelty is chilling. Elizabeth Bathory's actions make her one of the most infamous female killers in history, surpassing even the darkest legends surrounding her name. Belle Gunness, a Norwegian immigrant in early 20th century America, ran a seemingly quiet farm in Indiana. But Gunness is believed to have lured dozens of men to her farm, killing them for financial gain. It's suspected she murdered up to 40 people, including her husbands and even her own children. Belle's cunning, combined with her greed, makes her one of the most disturbing figures in American crime history. When authorities finally caught on, she vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of mystery and terror. Jodi Arias's case took over headlines in 2008 when she was convicted of brutally murdering her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander. Her crime was shocking, not only for its savagery, but for the psychological complexity surrounding it. Arias was intelligent, manipulative, and driven by a toxic obsession. The crime scene was gruesome, and her attempts to manipulate the investigation were chilling. Arias's case reminds us that obsession can drive people to terrifying extremes. Nannie Doss, nicknamed the Giggling Granny, poisoned 11 people, including 4 of her husbands, her mother, her sister, and even her own grandchildren. Her motives were as sinister as they were simple. She wanted money, and she wanted freedom. What's even more disturbing is how she seemed to take joy in her crimes, often giggling as she recounted her actions. Doss's crimes are chilling not for their method, but for her utter lack of remorse, making her one of the most unsettling figures in American criminal history. Next up is Dorothea Puente, a seemingly kind woman who ran a boarding house in Sacramento, California. Behind her soft demeanor, though, Puente was manipulating and murdering her elderly tenants for their pension checks. Puente buried many of them in her yard, hiding her crimes until one tenant's disappearance triggered suspicion. Dorothea Puente reminds us that sometimes the most unassuming figures can hide the darkest secrets, her kind granny image masking chilling motives. Carla Homolka's story stands out not only for her own actions, but for her role as an accomplice in brutal crimes alongside her then-husband, Paul Bernardo. Together, they were known as the Ken and Barbie killers, and committed heinous acts against several young women, including Carla's own sister. What shocked people even more was Carla's plea deal, which granted her a lesser sentence in exchange for testifying against Bernardo. Homolka's case raises haunting questions about accountability, coercion, and the length some people will go to cover their tracks. Each of these women committed crimes that rival or even surpass the cruelty of Ted Bundy's actions. But there's something uniquely disturbing about their stories. They shatter societal expectations of women as nurturers or caregivers, challenging us to understand how such darkness can reside in anyone. While society often labels serial killers as male, these cases remind us that crime knows no gender. Studying figures like Wuornos, Bathory, and Homolka not only gives us a deeper understanding of the psychology of crime, but also helps us question our assumptions about who's capable of such horrors. So, who do you think is the most chilling figure on this list? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to check out other videos in this channel for more true crime stories that dive deep into criminal psychology and history. Thanks for watching.